Hey, everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody, and that was James Gunn. You're welcome to Friday Night Contact. So we've got a lot to actually discuss tonight with DC. We've also got other stuff to talk about, but DC will obviously, all of this will probably take up most of the stream tonight. But interesting, right at the end there, he mentions the fact that the story is king, and then he goes on to talk about the division of the directors and the writers. Well, they're both contradictory statements. I mean, you either stick to the source material or you're not sticking to the source material. But this is not what a lot of fans were expecting when James Gunn took over. There were rumors of all sorts. Now, I will say the rumors about the Flash, about some accounts out there took a lot of stick over the last few months because they were saying that's exactly what the Flash movie would do, and there was a lot of the Snyder cultists. The link doesn't work, you are saying. Okay. Well, that's weird. Loads of things have gone wrong tonight. Hold on. I'll send it through email. It's the best way. Right. So apparently the link, maybe it's because I put it up too early. I don't know what's going on. My computer, apparently the sound earlier on was going wonky as well. But obviously they've obviously been watching and they've heard what James Gunn has had to say. So we'll get their opinions when they come on. Lee, I've sent you your email now. Chris, I'll send yours now. Sorry about that, man. As I said, I don't know what's going on with this computer. So I'll send it to your email, the email address that I have for you, which will be your old one, won't it? Yeah. So your old email address, your old name, email address, Chris. And there you go. So I don't know. Everybody, the reaction that I've seen is a lot of people are just, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Personally speaking, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of those characters, there are a few that I do know, but most of them I didn't know. I do know about Blue Beetle, obviously. I know about Green Lantern and all of that. The Swamp Thing, I know about that. But as for the rest, I'm not really very familiar with them all. I mean, a lot of people say this is a gamble.
Hello.
Well, I mean, he has announced the Superman movie in 2025 and the new Batman movie. Obviously, the Batman with Patterson is going to be what Elseworlds or some mad crap. Basically, what he's done is just you know, like I said, that needed to happen. He needed to do, well, he hasn't actually done it, but what he needed to do was start from scratch completely. But the thing about it is now he's saying that, well, Shazam is in there, but it's not really connected or will connect. So he contradicted himself quite a lot, actually, in that video. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. Fans are still pissed over Henry. The Schneider cultists are not going to tolerate this. They've shown the disdain for James Gunn. This is a disaster. And on top of that, they have also announced that Ezra is doing well in his therapy. Who gives a fuck if he's doing well in his therapy? To be quite honest with you, he's a scumbag. He choked out a woman. He shouldn't be on screen again. End of story. I don't care if he's doing well in therapy and has changed his life around. Right? It's all bullshit anyway with these Hollywood actors anyway, or actresses. Oh, I'm going into therapy, think everything's going to be all right. That's not how it works. Nobody wants the Flash movie. Read the room, James Gunn. And I have to say, Chris, I don't know what you think, but this announcement was getting hyped up by everybody, and then we got the announcement, and there's nothing really. I don't know. To me, there's nothing that really jumps out and say, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to that." I don't know about you. Was there anything in that announcement that you thought, "Oh yeah, that might actually be decent"?
Well, I came in partway through this because I couldn't get YouTube to work either. Refresh me, Noel. Which announcement are we talking about?
The James Gunn announcement, the DC announcement.
The Ezra Miller thing?
No, I've literally. I can't play it again because it's 6 minutes. Do you want to go and listen to it? Go into James Gunn's account on Twitter. He's made an announcement about all the projects that they're moving forward with.
Okay, I will exit for a second. I'll be right back. Sorry,
Right.
folks. Absolutely nothing is working today. I will return.
It's grand. It's all cool. I seem to be having technical difficulties as well, so don't worry about it. I had them earlier on. But Lee, tell me, you've
I have seen.
Right.
I have,
What do you think, man? There was that in that announcement that jumped out and you said, "Oh yeah, can't wait for that."
One thing actually. Well,
What was
two
it?
things. Well, I love Booster Gold, right? I was a kid when Booster Gold issue 1 dropped, and I was absolutely fascinated by that character. So that I like. That I love. The other thing I thought was good was the Green Lantern.
Lanterns, yeah, that actually does sound interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. There seems to be an awful lot of Suicide Squad sort of knockoffs,
Yeah.
Really.
Peacemaker as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just seems very sort of generic. It's not particularly overwhelming when you lead with those. When you've got Superman and Batman, it just seemed a bit strange. I don't know what they're doing with Supergirl. That seems very dark.
Do you not think we're due though? I mean, look, I've watched the Supergirl. I think we've all watched the Supergirl movie. And it's
I like the Supergirl movie.
Yeah, so do I.
It.
I actually do like it as well. It's very camp and stuff, and it does have dark moments in it. But I've always said I would love to see another Supergirl big screen movie. So I'd be willing to give that a go and see where they go with that. And I think that'd be interesting for me. Now I am a huge Batman fan. I think that movie sounds very interesting. Again, if done properly, but can we trust James Gunn? That's the thing. He's already slated fans saying you are toxic after they sacked Henry. So there's that as well. And then he goes on about, respecting the creators and the directors. But the one thing that has actually, Lee, I want to bring this up and I want your opinion on it because I think people have a valid point. So he's saying about the actors and actresses that he wants the same actors and actresses to play the voice character. If they're going to be in animations, they're going to play the voice. Now, a lot
Yeah.
of people have come out against that and saying that that's very narrow-minded. You're literally excluding a whole load of people to come in and maybe put their take on the role. What do you say to that?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think if you're trying to do a multi-platform transmedia style crossover event, so you go from animation to live action and things, there's a continuity there. I think that makes perfectly good sense. Might make the brand stronger, I guess. You know, you got sort of familiar voices doing the both that and the main films or whatever. So I can understand the logic behind that. I don't think it's exclusionary or anything like that. I think it kind of does make sense. Also, it's cheaper because you're not hiring as many people. You know, you're getting all these people under one contract, I guess. So you're probably saving yourself a few quid that way, I should imagine as well. I think it's I don't know. I find it quite unusual. You've got such a huge repertoire of characters there, and he's opted to go very gone for sort of stuff that even a lot of comic book fans might not even know. You know, I mean, it's
That's what I was
very
going to say. He hasn't
the
gone with
radar.
recognizable characters in the DC universe. He's gone with the more obscure ones. But
Yeah,
that might
that's the word I was
be.
looking for.
But that actually might be.
It could work.
It could work in his favor because let's be honest.
That's his
I think
strength.
a lot
That
of
is his
DC
strength.
Yeah, I think a
Suicide
lot of
Squad,
fans
you know.
out there, if they're really honest with themselves, I mean, how many Batman movies do we actually need? You know, how many times has that been done to death? You know,
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We got Man of Steel. People would love to see Man of Steel too. But again, you know, Superman, well, it hasn't been done to death, I suppose. So you could do, but you've done a lot of cameos. But, you know, I think maybe it is good to have that. I'm actually looking forward to Blue Beetle because your man that's in Cobra Kai that plays Miguel is playing Blue Beetle. So I was always going to watch that anyway. I can't wait for that.
I mean, the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, I can see those crossing over because they've crossed over in the comics loads of times. So that would be interesting. It depends who they cast. A lot of this all hinges on who they cast, who they get writing these things. I think James Gunn is writing a lot of it. He's doing Superman himself, isn't he?
Yeah, he said that's his pet project there, Superman, and he's already writing it.
Well, the image he used of Superman was at least, you know, brightly coloured. So I hope that will mean that we're going for a more optimistic.
But here's the thing. It's all well and good them doing a new Superman movie, right? But he's not listening to fans. Fans don't want Superman recast.
They didn't want Batman recast either. They didn't want what's his face playing.
I'm back.
No, you're right. You're
Hello.
right, and it worked. It worked in some case. I
work.
mean, Robert Pattinson, the Batman is an average Batman movie in my opinion, but he was actually decent as Batman. I didn't think he sucked as Batman. That's what I'm trying to say because a lot of people were writing him off, but he was actually decent as Batman. I'm just not into the whole emo look. I have to admit, or that emo take of it, but. Still, I like his Batman. He wasn't bad. He wasn't as bad as I expected him to be. But this is interesting because he's gone this way with it. But is it gonna? I mean, the reaction on Twitter, and if you see the reaction of some of the YouTubers that have done videos on it, it hasn't gone down well. It hasn't gone down well at all. So I don't know.
Ask Chris because he's now.
I am. I'm going to ask him now. I was going to go straight on to Chris, but Chris, welcome anyway, mate.
Hello.
How was your week?
Busy. Busy. Chris is tired.
Well, don't worry. We'll get through this as quick as we can, and then.
I can give you my reaction, and my reaction is I don't think I could care less. Other than maybe some interest in whatever the Swamp Thing movie is, I don't think I could care less. I can sum up what's going to happen. The comic book movie thing has been going on for 23 years. It's played out. People are tired of it. It's just the same movie over and over again. MCU is dead. DC is, well, pretty much always been dead. So he's planning this for another 8 to 10 years. And I don't see it going anywhere. I don't really see it lasting 8 to 10 years because these movies and TV shows are not cheap to make. And I think largely thanks to what Marvel did, I think people are just, I know I am, just sick of comic book movies or superhero movies. I think I may watch them if I'm really bored. I don't see actually going to see any of this in the theater. They got recast Superman, which I don't care about. They're doing
but Chris, can I ask you this just to play devil's advocate? He's doing something different than previous regime. He's given us characters that a lot of the mainstream fans won't know. I mean, could it play in his favor though, or do you think it's just gone stale now because it's been going on for 23 odd years? Do you think it needs a break as well? Is that what you would do? Do you think it needs a break?
I don't think anybody wants to see, say for example, the Supergirl movie he's planned, a bunch of other, I couldn't even name them, but a bunch of other TV series and movies based on things I've never heard of before. I don't know. It could be good. Not something I'll be holding my breath for.
Right. Well, I mean,
yeah, I can see that.
It does seem bargain basement. Feel like Chris. You know what I mean, Lee? A lot of people do feel like Chris that out there. They just they're just. It's just got to the stage where it's not that they don't even care. It's just gone to the stage where nobody is bothered anymore. It's just because it's
5 to 10 years too late. The time to do this would have been 2017, 2018 at the latest. It's just, the DC universe has pooped itself too many times. And the momentum and excitement, this isn't 2000 or this isn't 2008 or 2013 anymore, where comic book movies were something new and cool. There's something that have been done to death. They're movies that are repetitive. They're movies that are CG heavy, and CG is just boring as hell. I think it's
the heart and soul of them has gone. The charm has gone.
I'm I don't want to see
the actors playing them. Yeah. The actors playing them are not particularly engaging, charismatic. The age of the film star has gone, but yet you see a lot of these superhero movies where if they're wearing masks, they're barely wearing the bloody mask at all half the time. It's ego, and it's not entertaining. The plots are paper thin. It's all crash bang wallop and CGI. I think Chris is right. I think the time at the latest would have been then, but really they should have ridden on the back of the Nolan films and tied that into something going forward. They should have really done that. I think the Snyder thing was a mistake.
I think the Nolan trilogy is the best thing that DC has done, and why they never expanded off that point is beyond me. To be
they even hinted at a Robin, they're coming into it as well, and now they're bringing in a totally different Robin that isn't, Dick Grayson.
They're bringing in Damian Wayne, and in the animated films it's okay, but you can tell right now what it's going to be. It's going to be some annoying Gen Z kid, sarcastic, snarky as hell.
A girl, probably.
He's going to be somewhere on the LGBT, ABCDEF whatever spectrum. There's going to be. This all just sounds terrible. And then he's got the other ones that I still like DC animated. I enjoy those movies.
Yeah, same here. I'm with you on that. The animation is so much better from DC. That's what annoys me. That's what annoys me about that company. Their animations are pretty great, but then when it comes to the actual live action stuff, bar the Christopher Nolan trilogy, I mean, name more better movies than the Christopher Nolan trilogy in DC live action. I can't think of any.
Well, none better, but they've had maybe 3 or 4 movies that haven't been crap. Everything else has been crap to unwatchable.
Yeah, and then on top of that, DC have said, the Ezra Miller is he's responding well to therapy. His therapy is going very well.
Well, gee, I wish I could have a cult and do what he did, and not be sent to jail and go into therapy. Yeah.
Now,
Not that I would do that, but I'm just setting this as an example. Normal people would be in jail for doing what he's done.
yeah, I know. That's what I can't understand. This whole decision, like, this was the perfect opportunity for James Gunn to actually get rid of that problem out of DC, because he was obviously going to reboot. But he's decided that Flash movie is going to reboot the whole franchise now. But Ezra is going to be the start of that. And I'm being honest, we've all read what he's done. He was also charged as well. Let's not forget, he has actually been charged with something. And yeah, the people above him, James Gunn and who is it? Peter Safran, is that his name, or whatever his name is, whoever's in charge with him. Those guys had an opportunity to get rid of that problem. Now, Amber Heard as well, Aquaman 2, right? It's funny he never actually mentioned too much about that. What's happening with that? Is Amber Heard removed from the movie, or is she still in the movie? Remember, Johnny Depp has been found that he was. They found that Amber Heard slandered him, right? She defamed him, so she was found guilty. So she's found guilty of something, and she's still there as well. I just do not get this from James Gunn and the people above him. People can have all their arguments and debates about what TV shows and movies he's doing, right? His stuff. But the fact that he's still allowing the Flash to go forward is beyond me, and they killed the Batgirl movie. Now, listen, we all seen the footage of the Batgirl movie, right? And we've seen the costumes and all, and it was pretty goddamn awful. So you can understand that. But you've got someone that's heading a movie that's being charged with a crime and has done other despicable stuff. We've even seen that video of him choking a woman out. And that's the face that they're using to reboot this whole universe. It's his movie. So how can they even justify this? This was the perfect opportunity for a clean break, a proper reboot from scratch. Forget about all these other movies. The DC, the way it is now, is dead.
He's gonna write off Aquaman 2 as being this Elseworlds crap.
Yeah, Elseworlds. It'll be Elseworlds rubbish. Yeah, you're right. Again, it's kind of a way so the other creators, I suppose, don't feel there's any disrespect, but we know what he's doing.
All these hangovers are dead in the water because they're not going to lead anywhere.
No.
And yeah, as you say, getting rid of someone as popular as Henry Cavill. And what's the name? Gadot.
Well, apparently James Gunn,
ridiculous.
when he said in his interview that he wanted people that he got on, people working for him that he got on with, and weren't a problem. And people,
like his wife,
that was him. And people were actually saying that was him having a sly dig at Henry, because apparently, if you're Henry and you want to stick to the source material and you feel so passionate about it that you actually let your voice be heard and known, right? Apparently that's being difficult nowadays in Hollywood. So an actor like Henry, who actually wants to respect canon and law, right? When he kicks up a stink, right? Apparently then you can't work with him. It's not someone that you want to be working with, because that's what it is. He talks about James Gunn at the end of that video saying the stories is what matters to him, right? And the creative vision of the directors and the producers. But he never said anything about.
Oh, I got some more news here.
Go ahead.
the only thing that I was looking forward to seeing, I'm just really looking at some of the news stories here. Peacemaker season 2 has been put on hold. So
Yes.
he's getting rid of the only thing that people liked.
Yes. I didn't like it,
Makes
so I don't
sense.
give a
I
shit.
liked it, but I don't know.
I
I
didn't
don't.
like his
I liked
Suicide Squad either, and I don't actually like James Gunn. So this is the fact that I'm even willing to watch some of the stuff that he's doing.
No. Here's the thing, Noel. You can add that to the list of things that he's canceled that most people wanted to see. So your casualties now are Ben Affleck, Peacemaker, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill,
Henry Cavill.
The Rock, although nobody really cared anyway. But no, so literally, the Peacemaker 2 was the last thing that anybody wanted to see that was still on the slate. And according to what I'm looking up here on the news on my phone, it's now been put on hold, which essentially means it's been canceled.
Yeah.
Basically.
And also remember, Jason Momoa now is going to be leaving Aquaman, and he's going to be playing a different character in the DC
Lobo,
universe.
isn't it? Apparently.
Lobo, yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Well, that's a rumor anyway.
That's the rumor.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
but
care
the
less.
people that put that rumor out being right about the reboot of the Flash movie, so I mean, they were right before everybody else. So I mean, if they're saying that, I would say that that's pretty much in the bag there. It's it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster.
They really should have kept. They should have kept Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot, lighten them up. I think even though he might be getting on, that's a perfect opportunity to do a mature Superman movie. I still think that the ultimate end game should be Kingdom Come, and having Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill in that.
Here's a question I've got for you, right? He has mentioned, though, and I don't think anybody has actually thought of this. So he has said that all of those movies are Elseworlds, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that Henry couldn't do a Man of Steel too.
Well, yeah,
if
no, it's
it was
because
put,
people want to see it.
If it was put in Elseworlds. So why doesn't James Gunn actually cop onto himself and let Schneider or whoever wants
You're
to do
using
the
logic.
Superman movie?
No,
Yeah,
you're making the mistake of using logic and reason and sense.
It's face plant after face plant after goddamn face plant.
I don't know
this is ridiculous. I got to be honest. I know you hate it, Noel, but I like Peacemaker, and I was looking for. It was the only, literally the only thing I was looking forward to seeing. So it's like I'm so indifferent. I couldn't even be bothered saying I'm boycotting this. If it comes up at some point, or if I get it for free, which I usually do with the DC movies, because I got a buddy that just rips the 4Ks and gives them to me. If I'm really bored, I don't even. They might just sit on my shelf.
Yeah, Chris asked about Aquaman 3. No, Aquaman 3 is gone now. It's done.
Oh yeah, that's canceled.
That's canceled now. That's gone as well, Chris. Good point. It's gone. It's gone. Everything's gone, man. I mean, look, nobody is saying that the DC universe is perfect. It's not. But there is a character and there is an actor that everybody loves. It doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on. People love Henry. Right?
Oh, no, some people don't. The usual suspects don't, because remember they've
been accused. Yeah, they've been trying to cancel him and all. Yeah,
they've been trying to cancel him for.
Well, he dared date Gina Carano. Because he dated Gina Carano, he had to go.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. And apparently he likes his women like Leonardo DiCaprio. He likes them
as long as they're of legal age.
Exactly.
Who cares? I'm like,
so he gets cancelled. Yeah. So they tried to pull that shit out of the bag as well. I've seen some of that, all right, but I mean the majority, let's say, of people that have watched DC movies,
he's an incredibly bankable star, and
yes,
the fact that Hollywood. But that's the thing. It's not just Warner Brothers. It's Hollywood in general.
Yeah, they treat him like shit.
Have a great lead man. I mean, if you've ever seen the Man from U.N.C.L.E., he was fantastic as that.
Is that good?
Total
Because I
Bond
watched the
material.
TV show, Lee, and I was a bit hesitant to watch that movie because obviously I watched the TV
No,
show. Is that
I
movie
love the
actually
film.
good?
I
I'll
love
give
that
it a
film. I
go
think
then.
it's
I'll give
really
it a
good.
go. I'll give it a
Yeah.
go. Thanks, man, for that recommendation. I'll
Yeah,
give it a
I've
go.
been meaning to watch.
If
it
you
too.
don't watch that and think Bond, I don't know what's wrong with you. I really do.
Do you think he should get the role? Do you think Henry is right? The next, if he's not, obviously he's not
Absolutely.
Superman now. It's gone, right? That dream is gone now. So the next big franchise that's out there is obviously James Bond. Would you give it to him
It's
now?
insane not to.
It's
Absolutely.
yeah. If
Absolutely.
they actually care about James Bond and
He's the
having
right age.
something bankable going forward, he would be the perfect James Bond, and that's the reason why he wouldn't be cast. Because it's going to be like we see with everything else. It's going to be some annoying little Gen Z punk. Sorry to young people, you're not all garbage. Just
No, just a small minority of you
Wow.
that give you a bad name.
all of them that are in the public eye. I think, for the most
Yeah.
part. No, it's going to be, I don't know, some millennial woke, scrawny looking, gender fluid. I
Can
don't
you imagine
know.
if they give him green hair or something? You know,
Yeah, it's
Bond
going to
green.
be James
Facial
Bond if
tattoos.
they don't cast Cavill, and if they don't cast somebody that is damn impressive, I'm done with that franchise too.
Yeah, look, I have to be honest. I watched No Time to Die. I was expecting it to be a train wreck. It wasn't actually. It was actually a good Bond movie. It was very emotional for a Bond movie, actually.
Well, original replacement Bond was insufferable and unwatchable, which and although I won't say what the ending is.
Yeah,
but
she
yes,
wasn't as annoying though, Chris, in fairness though. She wasn't as annoying or center stage as a lot of us
that's
were made to
because a lot of
believe.
the bad scenes ended up on the cutting
There
room
was
floor.
script changes, and apparently Phoebe Waller-Bridge is out of Indiana Jones 5, if that rumor is to be believed.
That's just a rumor. They're way too far into production now, and they've spent God knows how many hundreds of millions now with that movie with reshoots. No, Indiana Jones 5 is dead in the water, and it's going to end the franchise. They can't just cancel it, and I don't think they can afford to do much more with it. It's
You
going to
think
be
that?
a train wreck.
You think it is, though? I mean, what makes you think? Can I ask you? Because this is an interesting question, because I have heard people say that. Just from your point of view, why do you think this movie is going to be a train wreck?
Which one? Oh,
Indiana Jones 5. Yeah.
Have you ever watched?
Just out of curiosity, because I have heard a lot of people online say this, so and nobody's really given a reason, and I know you will. So that's why I'm asking you. Why are you so convinced that this movie is going to be a train wreck?
Well, there are multiple reasons, and some go back to the original concept. Some of it goes back to the beginning, where regardless of anything else that comes forward, they waited a decade too late to do this movie. Harrison Ford cannot play the role at his age without coming off as a complete joke. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is just absolutely toxic, and there's no way that you can take her tentacles off the film at this point because she's been involved in every aspect of it for years. She's one of the main characters. She is completely unlikable, like just absolutely reprehensible. I know that there's been script problems across the board, apparently, with all the edits. It's like it's a Rise of Skywalker type situation right now. It's a mangled mess, no matter what they do with it. I believe that the rumors have come from enough sources of replacing Indiana Jones through time. Whether or not it comes into the final edit was one of the main drives of this film after Waller-Bridge took over. I've even heard rumors that the visual effects are a complete disaster, but they were for Indiana 4 too, so that might be par for the course. It's a film that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted the fourth one. The fourth one.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody wanted the fourth one. I mean, Crystal Skulls is an absolute joke of a movie.
No, it's so I just see it as being a complete it's a Rise of Skywalker. It's a movie that's been butchered so many times that there's nothing you can do with it. But the main thing is the involvement of Waller-Bridge. You
Yeah.
cannot undo that without redoing the entire movie at this point, and that there's no way they could afford that, because this movie, I don't see it making a lot of money. I just don't at this point. And it's Harrison Ford is kind of doing his retirement tour. He's done this. He's done Blade Runner. He's done Star Wars. It's nobody
sad.
wants this.
It's sad.
Lee, what have you got opinions on this? Do you think the movie is going to crash and burn? And if so, what are your reasons why?
I don't think it's going to crash and burn. I think people will go and watch it because, it's Indiana Jones, even though it's in Indiana Jones by name only, and because it's got Harrison Ford in it.
Right.
It could be like his last outing, so people might want to see it just for that. And plus, it's train wreck media. People love
People
going to see terrible movies.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be a smash hit. Obviously, I don't think that's the case. But I think it will make money.
A pile of poop could make some money.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
it has to. This movie actually has to make money though, because Disney are bleeding money now. Everybody knows that now. Disney is actually this is why they bought up the rights to show Doctor Who, and they're buying up the rights to show other shows now, because their own content that they're creating is so bad right now from a story level point of view and production level point of view. So, yeah. I mean, look, I'm like you. I'll watch the movie because it is Indiana Jones, and it is more than likely Harrison Ford's last out. And my fear with that movie is, and it's the only fear that I have right now, is will they kill him off just like they did with Han Solo? Now, as you know, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but when Han Solo died, that actually did have an impact on me. I'm not going to lie. It's Han fucking Solo. Like, you killed off Han Solo. Like, are they going to do the same
In
with
the worst way
Indiana
possible.
Jones? Exactly, mate. Exactly. And this is what my fear is, because I love Indiana Jones. Look at Temple of Doom, get some stick, but that's up there as my favorite. I love Temple of Doom. Absolutely. Raiders, right, is obviously number one. It will always be number one on my list. But I love Temple of Doom. It's always between that and The Last Crusade. They always swap places. I love it. I love that franchise. I love Indiana Jones.
The only future for Indiana Jones, and this hinges on two very important things. One, you have to be able to recast, reboot, recast from scratch, and set a new set of adventures. I think Indiana Jones, with the right lead actor, could be a good TV series.
Who?
Well, they've already done that. 30
Yeah,
years
but
ago.
I mean, in today's audience, the main trouble is the casting. If you were to recast Indiana Jones, thing is, the reason why Indiana Jones was so successful, apart from being a good romp, was it was a vehicle for Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford has a particular style. He has a particular charisma.
Yeah.
Finding an actor, especially today's pot,
Exactly. To kind of match that or surpass that, it's going to be very hard.
It's impossible, currently anyway. So I would rest it for a few years and wait for all this madness perhaps to stop being crazy, and start hiring people with that level of charisma, who are a bit edgy, who are funny, humorous, someone who's got some cockiness to them. That's what you really need. And we don't really see that today. So I would personally rest it and then try and reboot it, and maybe as a TV series or if you're going to go full out, do it properly. But you need a really, really strong lead that can take that role. Someone who has to fit those shoes, and that is not an easy job. So I would really put that on the back burner, wait for the right person to come along, and then go, you know what? That person would be great if there was a vehicle for them. I know, let's reboot Indiana Jones around, because they are that type of, they got that energy about them. I mean, it's so rare, and he's such a unique actor. and to replace someone like that, I mean, it's once every blue moon. So
That'd
you
be
need
like
to
trying to
put that on the back
replace
burner for
Bruce
someone who
Willis
comes in,
in Die Hard.
who is that kind of quintessential lead. You know, yeah, it's the same with Bruce Willis. I mean, you know, you can't imagine anyone else in that role in
Playing John McClane. You couldn't.
in Die Hard. You can't.
Yeah.
But
Same
I mean,
with Lethal Weapon. You wouldn't see anybody playing Riggs or Murtaugh. It wouldn't work. I know they did didn't they do a TV show and everybody like that, but fair enough. But for me, it wasn't my cup of tea. You know, I can only see there's certain roles that I think, you know, are only iconic because of the actors that are in them. And even if you do a remake, you're never going to capture that again. I would just leave well alone personally. That's how I feel about it. But, you know, I don't know. It's one of those, isn't it? Anyway, we've got some other news. So let's get into this. There's a little bit of heartbreaking news, actually. So I spelled his name wrong. I apologize.
I saw that, Noel.
I only realized, but I spelled Ozzy Osbourne's names wrong.
Well, his name originally.
That.
Well, you're almost right. If you look at the original pressing of the first Black Sabbath album, he spells it Ossie.
All right, then. Well, then there you go. So we'll take credit for that, even though I didn't know that. But there you go. Anyway, he's put up a statement because poor Ozzy, as you know, even during the Osbourne years, we all thought he was going to keel over because he always looked like he was bleeding. You know what Ozzy is like. But Ozzy was about to go on tour, and he's had a bit of a setback. So he's got a statement, and I want to read it. The reason why I'm actually reading this out and I'm talking about Ozzy is because, as I said, I watched the Osbournes. I have a soft spot for Ozzy. I've actually been recently only listening to his music, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not. Listen, I was never.
I've been listening to Ozzy for literally 40 years.
Yeah, but you see, this type of music that Ozzy does is not a genre that I'm really into. I have to be honest, but I think it's since I've gotten older, Chris. I've seemed to go into it. So yeah, I've been listening to Ozzy. He's brilliant, man. I listened to his latest music videos as well. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, his latest album, before you go into this, his latest album is an absolute masterpiece. It's by far his best album in over 30 years since No More Tears, because a lot of it, especially his second most recent one from 2020, was very lackluster. But yeah, this when it came out, we all knew this was.
Even I was watching behind the scenes of one of these music videos, and people were talking and saying this is prime Ozzy, and I was like,
it's like Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop released a new album recently, and it sounds really fresh. Like, really, really, yeah.
See, these old timers, as we call them,
punk song.
You know why they're so successful and they've been going for so long is because they know how to adapt each time. Even like you have to give it to Madonna. You know, she might be a crazy old so-and-so nowadays, but you know, the reason why she's been so successful over decades is because she was able to adapt. A lot of these artists, Ozzy and all, they're able to adapt. Man, Jesus, I never thought I'd be sitting down one night listening to Ozzy all night, man, right? And then I got to his new songs and I was like, holy shit, this man still has it. I was just blown away. Reading the comments from Ozzy fans, agree with Chris. This is probably his best work, if not his best work, that a lot of them were saying.
His second best album.
There you go. Chris thinks it's his second best album.
Well, I had to clarify that. No More Tears, 1991, is one of the best albums ever recorded. I would put it in easily the top 10. There's no way he would ever top that album, but I never thought he would come close to it. But this is definitely second to that album.
Yeah. Well, let's read his statement. He says, "This is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to share with my loyal fans. As you may all know, 4 years ago this month, I had a major accident where it damaged my spine." Was that the famous? No, that wasn't the famous where he was on the buggy and he bleeding. he fell over. Is that the accident, or did he have another? He's always having accidents.
I can't even remember which one that was, but yeah, the guy's been a bit of a mess for decades.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
My one and only purpose during this time has been to get back on stage. My singing voice is fine, and I agree with you. Your singing voice is absolutely superb. I'm sorry I haven't, and I'm going to say this, the Prince of Darkness. I'm sorry I never got into your music before now, because I'm really enjoying it. What a legend. However, after 3 operations, stem cell treatments, endless physical therapy sessions, and most recently groundbreaking cybernetics treatment, my body is still physically weak. I am honestly humbled by the way you've all patiently held onto your tickets for all this time. But in all good conscience, I have now come to the realization that I'm not physically capable of doing my upcoming European UK tour dates, as I know I couldn't deal with the travel required. Believe me when I say that the thought of disappointing my fans really fucks me up more than you'll ever know. Aussie down to a T. I mean, never would I have imagined that my touring days would have ended this way. My team is currently coming up with ideas for where I will be able to perform without having to travel from city to city and country to country. I want to thank my family, my band, my crew, my longtime friends, Judas Priest, and of course my fans for their endless dedication, loyalty, and support, and for giving me the life that I never ever dreamed I would have. I love you all. I've got an idea. You've got a big country mansion house. Just build a feckin' stage out your back garden, man, and get your band in there and fucking relay it all over the world via the fucking internet. And there you go. You can still perform. But that is sad. You know what? In fairness, though, I think a lot of us thought, with the multiple accidents that he's had all over the years, and he nearly did die a few years ago as well, if you remember.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's going to take its toll, especially, because of the way he lived these early part of his life, which fair fucking play to him. Do you know what I mean? If you're that
I'll tell you
famous.
something about his tenacity. Because Ozzy was originally supposed to retire over 30 years ago, because of what he had done to his body in the 70s and the 80s. So it was 1991. It was when No More Tears came out. He was only 43 at the time.
Yeah.
And the doctors told him, you have to retire or you're going to die. So that was supposed to be his final tour. It ended in early 93. He put out the Live and Loud album. And then that was his retirement tour. Zakk Wylde, everybody had stepped away. He said he was still going to record albums, but he couldn't tour anymore. So fast forward to 1995, he puts out Osmosis, which I've never understood why so many people hate that album. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's definitely in his top 5 albums. But he came out with Osmosis. He's like, screw it, I'm going to do another tour. So then I may retire after that one. Then he came out with another album in 2001. And at that point, he just said, you know what, to hell with it. I'm just going to keep touring. So here we are 31 or 32 years after he announced his original retirement, 22 years after he said, to hell with it, I'm going to keep on touring. Nobody knows how this dude is still alive.
No.
There's rumors, and I don't think it was rumors. I believe they actually have done genetic testing on Ozzy to find out how in the hell this guy is still alive. I think he was in his 60s at the time.
I'm telling you, man, he shouldn't even be alive. That's the thing.
He's 73.
He shouldn't even be. It's an impossibility, but he has. And you know what? Even that statement, the last part of that statement, the team behind me are finding ways that I can still give the fans what they want. I mean, he's still got, even after all of that, the one thing he's thinking about is not letting these fans down and trying to find a way to continue this tour so he doesn't have to leave the country. And I mean, that's testament to him. Look, look. I love the Osbournes. He was the reason I think I fell in love with MTV in those days. Were actually great, actually. But I think a lot of people will say that was kind of the start of the downfall of MTV, because if you look at MTV now, it's full of shows. So shows like the Osbournes, shows like that start Pimp My Ride, they were the beginning of the downfall of MTV. It's not even a music station anymore, man. Jesus Christ, all you see on it is Sweet 16 or something, and they say 16 I'm pregnant, and Catfish and all of this other fucking rubbish. Like, yeah, it's not even, don't call yourself music television. Right.
Well, Noel, if anybody wants to hear anything about what his tenacity was, listen to Black Rain, which he put out in 2007. The first single, I think, was I'm Not Going Away. Literally, the album is about him saying he will never quit, even though people keep telling him to quit.
Yeah, he won't quit either, though.
And again, that was 16 years ago.
Yeah. And Sharon will be at him now. She will. You got to slow down. And he'd be like, Sharon, right? He won't. He'll keep doing what he's doing, and fair play to him. He'll go out the way he wants to go out. Basically, he's a legend. Yeah, like I always knew who Ozzy was. I just never was really into his music, and it's such a shame that I wasn't into that sort of music growing up, but I wasn't. That's just the way it is. Again, as I've gotten older, I've noticed me tastes in music are changing completely. There's music that I wouldn't even listen to back in the day that I'm listening to now, and I'm like, I feel like I've missed out on a whole generation of
Dude,
music.
I feel so sorry for you, because No More Tears is a staple of 1991. Whenever I think of 91, that's one of the albums I think of. 91 was awesome, Noel, when you look at what came out that year. And No More Tears wasn't even some of the biggest albums of all time came out. You have Alice Cooper, Hey Stupid, which is his best album, came out that year. Nirvana, Nevermind came out that year. Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Metallica, The Black Album. Smashing Pumpkins, first album, and all these came out within weeks of each other. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. It's like you look at the releases, you look at the list. Michael Jackson, Dangerous, which was his last good album.
I love Dangerous.
It was one of the biggest years for music in history.
Yeah, I have all of Jacko's albums.
The last one was horrible.
I saw him in concert 3 times. I saw him concert for Bad in 1988 at Wembley. Then I saw Dangerous tour. Then I saw the History tour.
Yeah. The last album was songs. They got producers to bleed, and he had songs that were.
Oh no! I mean, the last album he put out when he was alive, which was Dangerous.
Oh, Invincible, wasn't it?
What am I thinking? No, Dangerous is a good run. No, Invincible was the single was okay. The rest of it was garbage.
Yeah, Sony screwed them up, but there's a lot to that album.
Lee Halford. Pearl Jam 10 came out that year. Somehow I forget that one.
Yeah.
Fuck Pearl Jam. Suede came out in 1991. It was the most anticipated debut album ever. It was so hyped in the press. It was brilliant.
Was it?
Well. Yeah. It was the album that launched the entire Britpop thing. So.
Oh yeah. I like Pulp, actually.
Oh, I can't stand Pulp.
I knew you'd say that. Where about Blur? Did you like Blur?
Some of it.
The Woohoo song. That's that, and I think it's the only one.
Yeah, that one.
That song too.
Woohoo!
Yeah, my band used to play that live. I think that was one of the songs where I put my guitar through my amp. I don't know. I was a little bit hammered. It was a fun show.
Yeah, but they were great days, man. It's great. It's great that we've actually I know we were talking about Ozzy, and it's sad what's happened, but I'm glad that we kind of talked a little bit about music, because the next topic is obviously going to drive Lee's blood pressure. So, Star Wars, as you know, Star Wars is a very
Was a
controversial.
franchise that is now dead that nobody talks about
Yeah,
anymore
but this
because
this
it died.
franchise is as controversial as it gets because of Disney, and now we've got obviously everybody knows that there's a site called Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia has decided to do this, so I'll just throw it on screen. Remember, these are fictional characters, by the way.
Why do I want? I
Fictional.
don't know what this is, but I don't think I want to see it.
No, this is why I said Lee
I'm just
will.
looking up coming up.
So,
yeah.
so Wikipedia has put this up now. May I add that Wikipedia has went on a blocking spree now for anybody that has decided to speak up on this.
I don't even know who the hell this is.
This it's a Wikipedia. They do this the encyclopedia or the Wikipedia for Star Wars.
Well, they're probably
So-
one of the sites that blocked me.
So this is what they say in their statement. You may have noticed a new field popping up in our info boxes lately. We are now listing characters' pronouns.
Oh,
It is
Jesus.
always
They're
important.
fictional.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish, please. It is always important to keep in mind that pronouns do not necessarily reflect gender, and by doing this, we will be more accurate and respectful. Star Wars. So there's a few characters that they've put up, and this character's pronouns Cody, right? So Cody's pronouns are he and him.
This is
And they
ridiculous.
do a whole list of other they show other characters their pronoun. Now, as I said, this site now, anybody that has retweeted and said it's ridiculous because they're fictional characters or have had anything negative to say, they have went on to block people. Now, Lee,
Because it's so inclusive.
I know this topic would really this topic would
I'm
really
gonna.
be
While
down.
we're you doing this, I'm gonna go get myself blocked.
No problem. So you do that, but Lee, Wikipedia is a fan base wiki for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's a fan base one. It's not the actual official, but still, it's a very big site within the Star Wars community. They have decided now to be pandering idiots. That's the way I see it. Fictional characters having pronouns. Lee, has society, has the world gone mad?
End of days, my friend. It's the fall of Rome, all the yada yada yadas. Look, I am so over all this now. People talk about respect and common courtesy. It's just a common courtesy. It's just showing respect. Well, first of all, respect has to be earned. It's not granted because of dint of who you are, who you say you are. And it's not about common courtesy. It's about control. It's about enforcing this notion that, somehow we haven't managed over the last few thousand years to get by without having to focus all our attentions on people's pronouns. It's completely ludicrous. Look, okay, fair enough. If you got a character's name and you don't know if it's a male or female, fair enough. I can understand that. But if they start putting things like they, them in there, no, I'm not fine with that because it's complete nonsense. Unless, of course, they, them refers to, I don't know, the Empire or something. Again, it is a virtue signal. These are people who've come into fandoms and colonized them. That I look at them as big fat spiders that have come and sat in the middle of a big spider web. Imagine the spider web is where the fandom used to be, and these big fat spiders come in, cast their web in there, sit right in the middle of it, and anyone that's unfortunate to wander in is like a fly that they come and like suck the life out of. That's how I see them. The blood-sucking fat spiders in the middle of webs. And in this case, in the middle of a wiki web page. Wiki wibbly wobbly wibbly wobbly timey wimey spidey wibey whatever. Yeah, so that's how I see it. It's almost predatory, and it's always like fascism, the new form of fascism, which comes with a smile on its face. and rainbows. You know, it's so facile, it's so disingenuous, it's so superficial, and I just find the whole thing is embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to me, you know. I think all this stuff is just begging for a backlash, you know, and that puts people like me in danger. And I don't appreciate that, because turning the greatest public, the greatest society against us, against people like me as a minority, it's not doing me any favors. You know, it's not doing people I know any favors. It's not doing a lot of us any favors. This kind of thing breeds resentment, because it's not done with consent of everybody. It's done by the big fat spider in the middle of the web.
Well, we do see that
you will do
resentment,
as you're
don't
told.
we? We have seen that resentment online. It's horrible. It's like, Lee, you're okay. It's not. It's a different form of what you're facing now, but it's like back in the day when you are fighting for your right to be an individual and to live your life. It's gone back to those times, and I've seen the comments aimed at you again this week. I mean, I'm just so sad that we have gone backwards, and it
has gone backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the worst homophobia I've seen in over 20 years is coming from the TQ plus, and I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
It is. No, you're right, and I'll back you up on that. Look, I'll back you up on that. I'm not afraid to open my mouth. I back you up on that because I've seen it with my own eyes with the stuff that's being said to you, and you're getting retweeted by these. They're evil. They're pure evil. And the reason why I say they're pure evil, you should see what they're writing to them. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm serious. I am disgusted. People call me all of these ists and phobes and racists. I am not. Trust me. I see it every day. It's disgusting. This man had to go off Twitter again.
Just vile.
Right.
Absolutely vile.
You've seen it, Chris. It's absolutely look, and Elon talks a good game, right? Someone actually had a go at me, right? I'm sorry, right? But Daddy Elon is not the savior that you all think he is. If you look at, I can't mention her name because anytime you mention her name now, she's getting videos flagged. But there's someone that has been
lovely,
right? But there's someone out there that may be telling lies about our past. And a lot of YouTube channels and people out there on Twitter have been exposing our lies, right? And you know what's happened? Daddy Elon has fucking censored them all, right? YouTube is doing the same thing right now. There's 7 or 8 channels now, and the list keeps getting longer, of channels that have decided to confront this person and do videos and call out the bullshit. They're all now after being hit. She's after getting them all hit now, right? Elon is, and they're doing this whole thing, right? And it's a fucking con and a scam, and I can see through it because I'm smarter than them all. Elon might have come up with electric cars and sent rockets up into space, but he's not as smart as he thinks he is, right? And I'll tell you why, right? This whole thing of protecting your account because apparently you get more views and all of this and more interaction is bullshit, right? Because as soon as he did it, right, she goes and does to say about 5 or 10 minutes before an article drops on her about the next wave of lies that she's come out with. It's all a bloody scam. She's in there now and she's deleting all her tweets from her past, right? And she's trying to cover our tracks, right? And Elon is facilitating this. Elon is not the savior that everybody thinks he is, and people keep saying to me, give him more time, give him more time. Well, if he spends less time fucking showing off to his supporters, right, and actually gets rid of the stuff that's aimed at Lee, the homophobia, the anti-Semitic comments that I've seen, right, the porn that's on Twitter, right, when he does all of that, right, and puts his foot bloody down and stops showing off to people, then I'll believe that he's doing the right thing. But I've seen what's aimed at Lee, and I'm not going to sit here and defend a multi-million billionaire because people say, oh, give him a chance. I'm not going to give him a chance, right? He's had a fucking chance. He's spending too much time showing off.
He's one man. He's one person. He's got multiple offices around the world, right? His main focus is on San Francisco. Obviously, there's a European offices, and there's a London office
Look,
somewhere.
I get all of
I
that,
should
but
think.
he's
It's
the
the
boss
same people
now.
there. I know,
Exactly.
but he's one person. He needs to.
Right? He needs
we
to clear them
he
all
needs
out.
to get in there and clear them out. But the thing is, I'll give you an example of what happened to me the other week, which was
Yeah. Now, can I ask you, just before you tell your story, be careful about what terms you use, because you know what YouTube is like. So if you have to give a different, you know what I mean. All right. So go ahead.
Fine.
Tell your story.
It's not even remotely that controversial. It's
right.
just the
But
fact
no,
that,
I'm just saying, just be careful, because you know.
Yeah. I posted a poll. Okay, just a simple poll, a yes, no answer. You know, the poll was asking lesbian, gay, bisexual people if they had been blocked by Stonewall UK on Twitter. And the poll started to gather momentum. By the second, third day, I was getting like 200 plus votes going up. On the third day, it froze at 465. I think it was something like that, 465 votes or something like that. And it wouldn't go up. There was no engagement. It wasn't. I mean, it was increasing in numbers of votes. So there's obviously quite a lot, and it's getting retweeted, and people were seeing it and engaging with it. Third day, it went down to 5 votes. Fourth day, it went down to 0 votes, and it stayed at that. It didn't budge. I checked to see if I'd been shadow banned. I had been shadow banned. Still, it's still going on, shadow ban, and the post was not busy. I had 2 people who I managed to speak to see if they could just vote to see what would happen. One person voted, and they showed me a screenshot of the vote tally gone up by 1 point, but for me, it hadn't gone up. So they saw it had gone up by 1. Mine hadn't moved. The second person did a vote, sent me a screenshot, and that had gone up by 1 point. But it had gone up by 1 point, the same as the other one. So they had an identical score each. How does that work? And mine has stayed the same. So effectively, Stonewall UK, the biggest so-called LGBTQ plus charity in the UK, had somehow managed. About 2/3 of the votes were people who said that they had been blocked by Stonewall. So this is gay, lesbian, and bisexual people blocked by Stonewall, the biggest charity in the UK. Supposedly their advocate, their charity, were being stonewalled effectively, ironically. And that vote would have gone up and up and up. And I said it for a 7-day period. On the 4th day, Twitter had frozen it completely. I mean, completely. So for the rest of the 7 days, it didn't move. There was no interaction. It had frozen, and the 2 people who had voted showed the same result, gone up by 1, but mine hadn't moved at all. So there was nothing. And the Charity Commission were tagged into this as well. So what we have here is a situation where Stonewall UK, with its big tentacles in absolutely every aspect of our society. I mean, they've got people signed up to their little scam. It's a protection racket, effectively. And so clearly, someone in Twitter saw this poll. I don't know if it was a AI or an algorithm or what it was, but it looked to me like it had been tampered with by somebody. Someone
You know what it could be,
must have
Lee?
seen
They
this.
probably put in certain keywords into
might be.
Twitter's
It might be.
algorithm and something like that. And because the old regime, they've left a lot, and Elon does have to fix. Look, I am probably a little bit harsh on Elon, but I've seen what's happened, Lee. right? And I see how it affects him. You know, he has this tough exterior, right? But there's only so much a human being can take, right? It does take its toll, no matter how strong you are. And I don't like seeing my friend upset, and I don't like seeing what's being aimed towards him by these little activists and these bloody
But do you see what
disgraceful.
Do you see what this means? Do you see what this means, though? Right? You have. I mean, we get called fascist and far right and all this kind of stuff a lot, right? Now, if you look at the meaning of the word fascism, okay, which is the bundle of sticks with the tied together with an axe head, right? And it's stronger together kind of thing. You know, basically the marriage of state and corporation. Now, when you have a marriage of Stonewall, which is a charity acting like a corporation, it has infested corporation and state. It's infected a lot of local governments, UK government, Scottish government, Welsh government, all the corporations, BBC, police, the fire service, all of those things, universities. That is a marriage of state, charity, effectively a charity, when in fact really it's more acting like a much more powerful organization. It's semi-state and semi-corporation. So it is in effect a fascist entity.
Yep.
Now, when you have a charity that it can get away with that level of power and that level of influence to the point where it can influence Twitter, the largest, if not one of the largest, social media platforms in the world, that it can actually tamper with my lowly profile of, I've only achieved 1,000 followers yesterday, that I have a poll that gets frozen after 4 days completely, tampered with by Twitter on the behest of a charity, Stonewall. That is frightening that they would bother with my little me and my little poll, which the Charity Commission were tagged in. Now, quite interesting. Now, I'll give my hats off to the Charity Commission. The day after the poll had ended, which hadn't changed for 4 days or 3 days, they actually sent me a message, a comment on this, because I was tagging them in to say, "Show, can you see what's happening? I hope you're paying attention." And I kept drawing their attention. I kept tagging them and saying, "Can you see what's happening here?" And showing the evidence, because there was obviously, because I was posting the screenshots that were sent of the two people who had voted to see if it had gone through, and that they both posted the same result each, which is impossible. You can't, if that was a fair poll. So they did actually comment to say that, if I want to make a formal complaint about this charity, to email them. So I'm going to take all that data and the screenshots and all that and send them a report, because I think it's very important, because the Charity Commission is there to oversee charities and to see that they're behaving properly. This is not normal behavior of a charity.
No.
It really is. And to have that level of overreach and influence over Twitter
is dangerous. It's dangerous.
It's
very
insane.
Dangerous. Yeah,
it's insane. So I mean that's basically where we're at.
This again, Star Wars. I know we kind of went off a little bit off topic, but that whole thing with Elon and what's happening, Lee, and we have someone says that we should email Elon. Listen, we've tried to draw his attention to it publicly.
All the time.
We tag them all the time, and he doesn't respond. He only responds to the bigger ones, or the ones that are killed, that he thinks are killed.
The little people are not interesting.
Yeah, he's not interested in the little people. But anyway, this is Star Wars again. This is another fan celebration. That gay Jedi. I am humbled and grateful and over the forest moons to announce that my panel and title Star Wars is Drag, exploring Star Wars through the art of drag, has officially approved. We can't wait to share this with you. Now, they did put up as well another post where something about everybody's welcome. But
No, they're not. Don't make no mistake about it. Not everybody is welcome.
Yeah.
I hate all this. Everybody's welcome. This is a space for all. It's inclusive. It's diverse. No, it isn't. It's very
but
selective.
can anybody
it's very
tell me,
elitist.
have I been watching Star Wars wrong? Because I don't remember any drag characters.
Well, they might look like aliens. I mean, that might be the case, right? There might
just
be.
wait for Disney to do another re-edit of the original trilogy if they haven't been butchered enough, and stick that in there.
Yeah,
I would put
probably.
it past them.
I mean, it's getting
Yeah,
ridiculous.
they'll turn it into a gay disco instead of the cantina or something. It'll be a gay
Change the score, disco music.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
by
it's
the way,
raining men.
some news about Will Smith. So I don't know if you're seeing his announcement, but himself and what's his face, Martin Lawrence, have announced that there's going to be another Bad Boys movie, but it's going to be called Bad Boys 4. So this is not a direct sequel to the Bad Boys for Life. This is completely.
So, are you telling me then to get a career in Hollywood, I have to throttle people, punch people?
Basically.
Is this where we're at now? Like, I mean, if you're a good Boy Scout like Henry Cavill, you don't get any work. But if you go and punch, throttle, or form a cult, you're in. You know, what message is this sending? After the Me Too movement, nothing has changed at all. It's worse than ever.
Yep.
I mean, look. You know, his reaction at the Oscars. I mean, I don't look. Maybe it's because I'm Irish, but if people think that was actually a clatter, you don't know what you're talking about, because that ain't no clatter for starters, anyway.
That was a bitch slap.
Right, that's all that was. But you see, I don't think he should be cancelled at all. Right, he apologized. Yeah. His missus was there while he was apologizing. She's the culprit.
I just think the
here.
whole thing's pathetic.
Yeah, because she's the culprit here. She's the culprit here. He's in a marriage where he's clearly not happy, but you know, who am I to judge?
Decision.
But he's decided to be there, and look, she belittles him so much. As soon as Chris Rock made that joke, look, she was originally laughing, and so was he. But then she gave him a look for laughing, and because he's such. Because she has wore him down so much and simped him to bits, he went up and he gave Chris Rock a bitch
slap.
But I don't think. Well, look, I don't think he should be cancelled for it. But you know, I mean, this is the thing. Should Ezra, right, for what he done? I think absolutely. I think that justifies.
No, they're very selective as to who they cancel,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're on the right side, then you won't be canceled. If you're on the wrong side, then you will be canceled.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And Will Smith was about to come out with yet another movie, which is going to further aggravate the situation south of the border, which gets worse by the day now. And he was following the narrative, and Will Smith, he's the one who made the decision to marry this person.
Yeah,
and it's not like this person wasn't like this, or Jada Pinkett Smith. It wasn't like she wasn't like this when they met. And in some cases, I think in a lot of cases, I think men have to take responsibility for the people they engage in relationships with, because the signs are there. And this is, you know, the one thing that, you know, I support Johnny Depp, but also the criticism I had for him is, why did you engage in a relationship with Princess Poopy Pants in the first place? Because she's reprehensible.
It was clear as day. It was clear as day that was never ever going to work. I think even on their wedding day, people were close friends to Johnny. It came out in the court case. I think they were warning him not to get married.
You have to take some responsibility, because this stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum.
No, you're right. You're right. If
he was fucked, he was fucked. He was on drugs.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. There's no excuse, man. Listen, look, this is what's wrong with modern men today. They do need to speak up. They do need to take responsibility. If you're married to someone that's completely awful, you know that's
The people who need to take responsibility are the abusers themselves, right? She needs to take.
Oh no, I'm saying
Yeah,
they're
she
the
does.
primary responsibility.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's it's forethought. It's the whole. Some people call it blaming the victim, which I wouldn't really say it's that. It's you have to approach things with a head on your shoulders. And
Which he
yes,
didn't
he
have,
was
to be
he was
fair.
blitzed out of his head. But Amber Heard, no matter how blitzed you were,
Come on, you could see she was a
It's-
train wreck from day one.
yeah.
man.
Oh, let's also not forget that that Elon Musk was in a relationship with Princess Poopy Pants.
Yeah, and he ended up with an L bruise on his
Yeah,
eye
she beat
too.
the crap out of him.
She beat the crap out of him too, apparently. So come on, this woman was already, and also she was with a woman, and she beat her girlfriend up as well. I mean, this woman had I mean, come on. She tried to make herself out. She was never going to convince anybody anyway. But do you know what? The fact that there was so much overwhelming evidence to back Johnny up, that's what sealed her fate anyway. Look, you know, we shouldn't really judge anybody because they were an asshole in previous relationships, but at the same time, it kind of shows a pattern here. And she definitely has a pattern of violence towards partners. And the fact that she thought that she could go into court, look, she got cocky. We heard it in that audio. Go, bring me to court. Let's see if the world believes you, because obviously she was so confident because of the Me Too movement as well, because this puts it in women's heads that, you know, all women are going to be believed no matter what, and the man is guilty. If you name and shame him, he's guilty, right? So she thought that that's the way it was going to pan out. But unfortunately, when people actually watch the case, and if you did actually watch the case, you know, instead of just there's a lot of people that comment on the Amber side that clearly haven't watched the whole case, because you know by their comments they haven't. But if you watched it,
they just ignored it.
if you watched it, the evidence is there. Listen, this woman needs help. You know, she obviously has problems, and in some aspects you could feel sorry for her. But I will never feel sorry for what she put Johnny through. And remember, it's not just the court case. He had to live with this for years, not being able to work and being blacklisted because of that woman. And there's a movie coming out from DC with her in it, and it's an absolute disgrace. But I want to move on to something quite funny.
Just one last thing I want to say about that, Noel, just although I think this should be a warning to young men. If you are thinking of making a commitment to someone and they start spouting certain isms, and we all know what they are, although we're not allowed to talk about it anymore, and start talking about things a certain way, and we know what those ways are, run. Don't walk, run.
Run. That's it. Don't even get involved. Listen, if you go on a date and you start spewing this shit, that is your cue, mate, to leave. Trust me, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Your life will be ruined.
Listen, we've seen the case recently in the UK. That poor bloke, that this girl accused him of doing all sorts, and she even punched herself in the eye to show photographs, and it turned out that your man was innocent, no such thing, and now she's being charged. And that's the way it should be. If you make false accusations, you should be locked up, in my opinion. And that goes for both bloody genders here. If you make a false accusation about someone, that's it. Sent to prison. End of story. Yep. That's disgusting. You ruin someone's life. And remember, Johnny will never shake that off, because there'll be still people out there that will doubt him, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. But I'm going to give you something lighthearted now. Liam Neeson, as you know,
is about to make the same movie for the
no, it's not a movie. No, Liam Neeson has actually had a go at another Irish celebrity, and this one I actually do like, because I love Liam Neeson. I know he gets stick for the movies he does, but even his poor movies, he's just great in them. I love him as an actor. He's one of my favorite Irish actors, so I'm not going to knock him. But he's decided to have a go at Conor McGregor, and Liam Neeson says, "Little leprechaun, Conor McGregor gives Ireland a bad name."
Lucas?
Now that's Conor McGregor, for anybody that doesn't know, is a UFC fighter. He came to fame. He was the first two-time champ at different weight divisions, never been done before. His rise through the UFC was actually impressive. He had skills to match, but over the years, he's gotten into a lot of controversial stuff. There was even someone accusing him of having their baby, but she turned out to be a liar. But he does get caught up in stuff like that where he's putting himself at risk. There's been a few allegations made and stuff like that, but nothing has ever stuck on him. But this bloke is giving Ireland a bad name. He recently went after an Irish comedian, PJ Gallagher, who was suffering from mental health problems. And as you know, mental health with blokes, it's a stigma. It's a taboo subject. Men don't like talking about it. But we have seen over the years that that's starting to improve. We still a long way to go. I thought if I have any problems, I talk to people. It's the best way, seriously. That's what I would say. Go and talk to someone. But PJ Gallagher was basically spilling his guts and telling everybody the mental trauma that he was going through and his depression, and telling his story. And this wanker Conor McGregor says, man up, you pussy. And of course, he says, man up, you pussy, and something about stop crying or something. But it got a negative reaction because obviously someone was talking about that mental health, and Conor was literally belittling that person. So an Irish soccer legend, then Paul McGrath, decided to defend PJ, the comedian. And then what happened then is that Conor went after him, and then all of a sudden the footballer's son got involved, and then Conor tried to laugh it all off as a joke. He's very controversial. A few months back as well, he posted a video on his yacht, and it looked like he was getting some oral service off his baby's mama, but he quickly deleted the post after obviously he realized that he can't be putting porn up on Instagram. But this fella does have a history. He is he's a great fighter, but he has that edge, and he gets himself into a lot of trouble. But I did have to say, I will say, Liam coming after him there, calling him a little leprechaun, actually made me chuckle a little bit, because little leprechaun's a bit of a slur. So, but is it a slur if an Irishman says it about another Irishman? But I just found it funny. This country's gone bad. I don't want to get into it, but we're just let's put it this way. There's a war going on in the streets now. But apparently my audio is gone again. Are you sure?
It has?
No, I think my audio has been fine. And Crackly Noel is back. I don't know what's going on. I might have to reboot my computer or something, but there is definitely something going on, and I have someone has said that's twice today. But yeah, listen, that's all the stuff that we actually came on to talk about, unless the other two lads. Actually, I wanted to ask you, I haven't watched Megan, so don't spoil it. But you two lads said it's actually very good. I was highly skeptical because it wasn't R-rated, but is it actually as good as people are saying it is?
Yeah, well, it's like I've said before, Blumhouse. They haven't. It's a brilliant film, but they still have a long way to go to redeem themselves after what they did to the Black Christmas franchise, the Craft franchise, and Halloween. But no, it's you have to go into this film with a certain mindset, because if you look at it thinking it's going to be completely serious, it's not. It's it's both scary but absolutely hysterical at the same time. But it's aware that it's hysterical, and it's aware that this concept is completely ridiculous. I didn't see a single movie in the theater back in blah 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 last year, 2022. Brain stopped working. So this is actually the first movie I've seen in theaters since Spider-Man No Way Home. And it was awesome. I've never laughed so much at a horror movie in my life, but it was like, it wasn't so bad. It's good laughing. It was, this is awesome laughing because it's so over the top, so ridiculous. It's so awesome. And so Blumhouse, please give us more of this. And stop it with the current year stuff, and don't buy any more franchises again. It's gonna take you a long time to make up for what you did to Halloween, which is Halloween ends in shame for literally the fourth time. The fourth time.
They need to leave it out with Halloween, don't they? Lee, I'll just ask you briefly on Megan, because I want to talk a little bit about Cocaine Bear. Yeah, I can't believe I've actually put that in the same sentence, but that's a movie that's coming out that I want to talk a little bit about. But go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, I watched this with Jack the other week, and it was a surprise. I mean, we'd heard that there was a lot of people saying it's actually good and worth watching, which is a shock to the system these days, because usually we're so primed to dislike whatever's coming out because it's just usually so goddamn awful. But this was something quite unique, not in the sense of its concept. The concept is very tried and tested and old, from Chucky and I mean, it's AI and and Pinocchio goes right back to that, doesn't it? Really, but it was so brilliantly done. It was a bit of a slow build at first, and then putting the Megan robot together was just like,
and
done in the montage.
It's tonally all over the place purposely.
Yeah, it's a bit of a patchwork. And I didn't believe me and Jack were just laughing at this woman who was built this thing by herself, university or whatever. It's a bollocks. I mean, it's really silly. It's
I
really
want that
silly.
Robot.
That robot was great, but no way did she build that by herself. Fuck off.
What are you trying to say? That women can't build robots, Lee?
Cancelled.
Men couldn't build a robot like that on their own. No way.
Oh, I love it.
So anyway, that aside, there was some really, I wouldn't say it was so much a horror film. It was more like a thriller in a way, wasn't it? It was less horror. I think someone said that there's an edit out there that's like a 18 plus or whatever. So I'd like to see that like a bit more. I mean, I wouldn't say it was woke necessarily. There was the bit with the bully kid who, the boy that.
Oh, dude, I thought that too. But then when you look at it, that whole scene is so ridiculous and so over the top. I think it's almost like it was meant to be a parody of how these people.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because I when we were looking at that, and I said, well, actually, if you think about it, it does show toxic femininity, because I mean, she kills him, and she goes over the top with it, and it's this hyper jealous, hyper possessive.
Oh, dude, I was cheering as soon as the car hit. I'm like, this is the best thing I've seen all year. I'm like, literally, like I don't know, maybe my theater.
Spoilers.
Yeah, don't spoil it, 'cause I haven't seen it.
Something happened. Well, no, it's in the trailer. But something happens. I think it's in the trailer. But yeah, something happens, and like the whole theater just busts out laughing.
So at the start of the stream, I did do a poll, and I asked people, will the James Gunn universe fail? There was 18 votes, and which is good for the chat, I have to say. So it's gone like this. 27% of you say no, but a whopping 72% of this chat thinks the James Gunn universe will fail. Well, we will have to wait and see. But I do want to get on to something here before we
I
leave
just wanted
tonight.
just wanted to say, you know, before we move on from Megan, that I think the character design was perfect. The robot with Megan, absolutely iconic. You know, I
Right.
don't use that. I hate that word, but
Yeah.
it really was, and I think it has legs in this. I think the way that they did it with a real little girl inside the
Yeah.
Well,
costume.
there's three
Fantastic.
three
Absolutely
actresses
fantastic.
that play Megan.
Mm.
But here's the cool thing, because we haven't had any new iconic horror villains. In the past few years, we've gotten two. We now have Art the Clown, who might be my favorite horror movie villain of all time. And we have Megan. And Art the Clown is now a franchise, and pretty much guaranteed you're going to see more Megan movies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they better be this good and not.
Oh
do
no,
another
they've already
movie.
announced the second. They've already announced
Oh yeah,
the
that's right.
second movie.
Yeah, actually they
yeah,
did.
and apparently she's a gay icon as well now. Just want
Well,
to
who
throw that
cares?
out.
I've heard this,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't
Yeah,
follow those.
But
Just
anyway,
movie.
being
Gay
a gay
icon.
icon or not, I'll give the movie a
Doesn't really
go.
speak
It
share,
does.
you
The
know.
trailer does. I have to say, I was fascinated when I did see the trailer. And now that
highly
everybody's,
recommend.
I will. I'll go and watch it. But I want to talk about this. There's a movie coming out shortly. If it's not already out, I don't know if it's actually already out. But I wanted to talk about this because I've watched the trailer, and it's absolutely insane. And this is a true story. Apparently, this actually happened. I don't mean this. I don't mean the movie itself, but apparently a bear did actually do a lot of coke and went on a bit of a rampage. But there's a new movie.
They did.
Called, yeah, apparently, yeah. There's a new movie called Cocaine Bear coming out. Yes, you've heard right. Cocaine Bear, and the synopsis is that a drug deal. Basically, drug dealers are trying to transport some cocaine. Something ends up happening. A bear gets a hold of, sniffs some of this cocaine, and goes on a rampage for I think it's a couple of days or whatever until they finally come down off the cocaine. Or I don't know what happened. I don't even know what happened to Bear. Don't want to know. But I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna show you the poster, because there is a poster for this movie. I'm telling you, this is the weirdest concept for a movie, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I can't wait. Because it's just so ridiculous. I can't stop laughing at this. Well, so watch the trailer now. It's on YouTube. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, go on to YouTube real quickly before we end this stream tonight, right? And go in and watch the trailer for Cocaine Bear. I'm not messing. Go and watch the trailer. And I'm telling you, you won't regret it. You won't regret this. It's even the music. This looks like it's actually going to be a great movie. It's a dark comedy. These are dark. What's this? It's a dark. It's a thriller dark comedy, and it's an hour and 41 minutes. Cocaine Bear, and here you go. Now I'm going to give you the poster of this mad movie. Lee, it does look mad, doesn't it? I mean, this is gonna be. I mean, this is gonna be. I wish I could play the trailer for you, but I'll be struck. But there's the poster. So you got a bear there, the shitload of coke over it. And there he is there. Look, I'm telling you. This is gold. Get in line. Get in line. February the 24th it comes out in. So it's not even that long away. But I cannot wait for this movie. I cannot wait for this movie. It's gonna be great. And of course, it's got the late Ray Liotta in the movie, or Liotta, is it Liotta, who died, you remember? So I think this was his last movie. The movie is directed by Elizabeth Banks, though, and some people won't be they don't. Well, Elizabeth Banks has said a lot of stuff over the last couple of years. But this is inspired by a true story, 1985, of a drug runner's plane crash missing cocaine and the black bear that ate it. This wild thriller follows an oddball group of cops, criminals, tourists, and teens converging in Georgia forest, where a 500-pound apex predator has ingested a staggering amount of cocaine and gone on a coke-fueled rampage for more blow and blood.
Sounds like my old Friday nights.
So it's just insane, the synopsis, right? It's insane that it's inspired by true events.
Well, in the 1980s, that fueled society.
In
Fun
the
time.
1980s, yes.
That's why it was
And,
so
there
imagine.
was didn't Reagan declare war on coke?
This is your
Yeah, and
brain on
lost it.
drugs.
And lost. He lost the war against a bunch of drug addicts. I mean, what does that tell you about government?
Yeah, I did hear about. We don't like bringing up Phoebe Waller-Bridge on this channel, but yeah, we do know that she's going to be doing Tomb Raider. But you know, the way I look at it is this way: if you like the games, then great, stick with the games. The TV show, well, it is a female lead anyway, so what's wrong with having a female writer? I can understand why people are complaining about Phoebe because she is highly politicized. But if she was to do it properly, which a lot of people would obviously doubt, and that's why they have the problem with it. But if she was to do it properly, a Tomb Raider TV show could actually be very good.
Yeah, the thing is like, you know, the first season of Fleabag, I quite enjoyed.
Yeah,
But,
you've said that actually. You've said that.
I just don't see how you go from doing that sort of very self-referential black comedy to doing action hero stuff. You know, it just doesn't. You know what I mean? It that's not her bag.
How she got
Fleabag.
herself
That's-
into those? But that's the thing. That was a show on ITV2 or something, wasn't it? It wasn't even on one of the main channels, was it? I don't know where it was shown. But I
It
mean,
was
how
on
did she
a-
get
I
from
can't remember.
doing that to
Streaming
being in
service
Hollywood and
on
being in
Prime.
the basically the big people's circle? How did that happen? How did she get? You know what I mean? I
The
mean,
right
I don't.
Well,
political
she's a
views
woman
at
who
the right
shares the
political
right
time.
politically. Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was the robot in what's its face?
Solo,
Star
which
Wars
lost
movie.
money, which
Solo,
I
yeah.
was in. hmm
Yeah.
And she was a pain
You were
in
in
the
that,
ass.
yeah.
by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really say much about your Disney stuff,
No.
which is a pity because I'd love to hear all your stories. But yeah, again, you know, it's been another interesting week in the news. Obviously, now James Gunn has said there will be more announcements made in due course. But I have to say, I'm like everybody here that's with me tonight. You know, there are some things that interest me, but I'm kind of at the stage where Chris is at now with DC and Marvel. Even is like, you know, it's gone on long enough. And I even said that. I think Chris, you even when you were doing your YouTube channel, I think even back then you were saying it was going stale. So we'll have to see if this is James Gunn's master plan. Of course, he hasn't told us. He told us that there is more announcements. We'll see what the other announcements are. He might be
Oh,
just.
it's,
He could
it's
be
like
filming everybody and giving those announcements. There's probably bigger things to come.
I'll
if
use
not-
a musical analogy to kind of sum this up before we go. Getting into comic book movies now or trying to relaunch something is like a musician getting into hair metal in 1991.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, BBC
Yeah.
Three was Fleabag. So there you go. It was on
Yeah.
BBC Three.
Over
So
here, it
it's
was
on-
Amazon Prime.
So there. So yeah, I don't know. Well, you know what I mean. But Chris makes a good point though. The thing is, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's fingers were all over Solo. No Time to Die. Yeah, but No Time to Die, I will defend. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, and there was rewrites.
The original, she didn't have a lot of the final edit, which I believe was after Amazon made the purchase, or it was part of the purchase, was undoing what she had done.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was a much worse earlier version of the cut where James Bond actually is killed at the end and not replaced.
Yeah.
And you have the new 007. And I think when, because Amazon bought MGM for this, the only really valuable asset they had was James Bond. And I think that's one of their demands. You can't kill this character because you completely devalue
Yeah.
our thing. So that's why it's sort of the way they did it. It's like, okay, it's the end of this arc, but we're starting all over again. Because originally they did want to go with the unpleasant 007 as the new 007.
That wouldn't have worked.
No.
I'm just saying it out straight. It wouldn't have worked. But yeah, you're right. Our track record isn't great. She's got her hands on Dial of Destiny as well. But again, there's rumors again that, you know, rewrites and stuff like that. We don't know because the sources that they're coming from are not very reliable. That's all I'll say on that. I'm not going to say any more on that because if I do, I'll go on a further rant and I don't want to. 2023 could be the year of change. I think 2023 people are wising up. I think we've seen it as well on Question Time. I think the audience reaction to certain people on that panel.
India
showed,
Willoughby. God,
yeah,
almighty.
showed that the public have had enough of this nonsense. It's the same in Ireland as well. It's the same in some parts of Europe. We've just had enough now. I think the public are wising up to all of this. You've seen the public reaction. I mean, if a politician can't answer a simple question about a man who has decided that they're going to transition, and then it turns out then that this person might actually just be doing it to actually get a cushy number in a women's prison. And we've heard all the stories. I can't go into details, but basically everybody has been, the SNP have been asked out straight.
But the fact you can't go into detail is enough of an indictment, right? Of where we're
exactly. But if you can't answer a simple question, is this a man or a woman, right? Then you know society has fallen. Simple fact of the matter is Lee and other people have predicted this, that there'll be some scumbags out there that will take advantage of all of this. This is why there does need to be a discussion had. This is why all sides should sit down and
the
talk.
era of no debate is over.
That's it. So people, that's what I mean. That's finished now. You could see it. The tide is turning. I do believe 2020. I said it in the video at the start of the year. 2023 will be a time where people will get sick of this nonsense and will start speaking up. Nobody is saying that people can't live their lives the way they want to live their lives. But unfortunately, there are some people out there that do take advantage of certain situations and stuff like that, especially when they've committed a crime. And we're seeing it a lot more now. And that's why there needs to be a debate had. And we need to just, as Lee said, the era of having no debates is over. We have to. That's what we do as a society. That's how we move on. And that's how we've always done it. Right? It's about time that we went back to the way we do things, sit down and discuss and have an adult conversation. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make it a bigger. Doesn't make you right wing. Right? It's just having meaningful discussion. So, because there's a lot of us out there in the public, and there will be a lot of people out there in the public, especially the older generation, and that's no disrespect to them, that'll be confused by all of this. So that's why there's a need for discussion. So people can understand all of this. And then we can sit down and have those discussions. Instead of people going on to television and then going on Twitter then and saying, I felt like there was a lynch mob in the audience. There wasn't a lynch mob, right? They booed because when your journalist asked you, the SNP bleeding fucking politician was the person a man or a woman, they wouldn't answer the question, right? That's why they booed.
Not
right?
only
They
did she
booed
not answer the question,
that was coming out your mouth.
she was asked the question multiple times, and then obviously, and then when pushed again to answer the question, she said, "I have answered the question," when she hadn't,
and she
which
hadn't.
is a lie. And then again asked, and then of course she said,
"Don't say the word."
She said the individual.
The individual was a rapist.
Rapist, yeah, and it was just so, and the audience just groaned because it's so,
because that's not the question
clear.
you were asked. That wasn't the question you were asked. Answer the bloody question. Simple question.
Well,
right? It's not bleeding hard.
They always do that. They
right?
Always
and I'm sorry, right? It's not bigoted or phobic to ask a simple question like that, right? It's a simple bloody question, right? Simple as I'm sick of all of this. Right, as I said, live your life the way you want to. If you're an adult and you decide that you're the wrong gender, fine. Nobody's going to stop you from doing what you want to do. It's when, and I've always said this, right? The problem that I have with all of this, my big issue and concern, right, about this whole transgender thing, is not the fact that adults are changing gender. They can do what they want. They're old, mature enough to make those decisions, and they, you know what I mean. But when they try to tell us that our kids can change gender, that's where my issue is. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about that and have a little bit more understanding, so then I can actually come to maybe even have the same opinion, or maybe come up with a different opinion on it. But we need to have those conversations. I'm sorry. Yes, it is hard. And some people out there will not want to have those discussions, right? Because there's a lot that they don't want us to know anyway. So let's just put it that way. So, but we need to have those discussions. We're supposed to be an open society. We're supposed to be able to communicate with each other. So let's do it. Let's have those conversations. Let's educate people. But nobody wants to do that on the left. All they want to do, and you see them on television all the time, it doesn't matter who they are, right? They don't try to get a point across, right? And you always notice when the other side then does respond, that the people on the left then will start screaming and shouting over them, because they don't want the audience to hear the response to their bull crap, right? That's the way they behave. No, they don't want to have a meaningful dialogue. But we need to, because we're at a point where we've seen it. As I said, homophobia is on the rise. People might be surprised by that, but I've seen it myself, and especially on social media. It's absolutely disgraceful. We've gone backwards as a society, and we need to have these discussions, because we need to move forward. We shouldn't be moving backwards as a society. We should be moving forward. And I will say this, not only does Lee have a target on his back, but trans people out there also have a target on their back, because of these activists and the rhetoric that's coming out of their mouth. And it's very damaging to that community, right? So I'm acknowledging the trans community, but what I'm saying is that we have to have the dialogue when it comes down to kids, because I don't agree with that. So you have to make me understand how a kid can make those decisions, but can't vote, can't drive a car, can't drink, can't do any of the other stuff. But you can make a life-altering decision like that. I don't really, truly don't understand that. And this is my point on it. That's why we should have a discussion. It's as simple as that. Everybody can live their life the way they want to. Nobody is stopping anybody from doing that. But when it starts interfering with society, and then certain people out there are fearing for their lives, then we've really screwed up somewhere. Right? Lee shouldn't have to fear for his life, or feel like the way he had to when he was growing up. but he's experiencing it all over again. Yes, it's obviously different this time because we got social media and stuff like that, but it's still as bloody damaging as it was back then. And people need to wise up. We need to stop this from happening because, you know, it's already causing anarchy out there. You see it; it's spilling out onto the streets as well, and it's terrifying. And nobody should live in fear. Nobody. But that's what's happening. And, you know, it's one of those, I don't really like talking about that stuff on this channel because the last time I did, I got into trouble for it. But I'm not staying silent anymore because I've seen a good friend of mine being bullied and abused on Twitter because he's defending his right to be who he is. And I think that's absolutely disgusting that he has to do that in this day and age. And on top of that, he's dealing with anti-Semitic assholes as well. So not only is he putting up with the fact that he feels like he has to defend his right to be who he is, he also has to defend himself on that side of things because people are literally being racist towards him. I just look. You need to look at it. You need to go and look at Lee's account. You need to go and see what's being said about him. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't know. He took a little bit of a break off Twitter, and he was right, to be quite honest. But I don't know how he can actually do it and go on and look at that and get that abuse every day and stuff. Because I mean, he's been getting
used to it.
Yeah, but it's not only that.
Yeah.
And then on top
Shouldn't
of that,
have
then you're
to, but
taking
you
then on top of that, then you're taking crap because of your opinions on Doctor Who as well. I mean, you're getting a threefold. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, you know,
C'est la
look,
vie.
I've supported Lee publicly on Twitter. You know, I have supported him publicly here on the channel, but I never really discussed it fully. I have now, and you know, at the end of the day, we all need to be supporting Lee and everybody else out there because you know we've got to put it up to these lunatics and tell them enough is enough. You know, they're putting targets on everybody's back. They're dividing us, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to divide us. And not only that, right? We're dealing with all of that. And then you have people on Sky News and stuff and everywhere shouting that we're all racist as well. Remember that as well. So we're putting up with that as well. We need to...
Yeah, no, what annoys me as well when you get things like Sky and all these other news channels and things like that talking about homophobia and transphobia, and they quite happily use the word queer, which is not universally accepted. You know,
No.
a lot of people like myself find that word extremely...
I know. I seen the thread where you actually said
bad.
that and the amount of abuse you got for it. That's what I'm talking about. You said a simple thing like that. And the pile
Well, you
on
know,
that you got.
what people don't understand is, you know, back in the day when you were
To Lee, that's
physically
offensive.
assaulted.
Exactly.
But when you were physically assaulted by actual neo-Nazis, you know, skinheads and the whatnot, for being gay and getting called an effing queer, and
being
having
beaten
the
to
shit
a pulp.
kicked out of you,
Yeah.
hospitalized, yeah, and then people wear it as a identity now.
Apparently
and
it's a
usually
badge of honor
heterosexual
now,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually heterosexual people that seem to colonize this word, and I just find it, you know, and when it gets to the point where you've got actual corporations using it and branding it and using it and everything, and local governments and government using it, I'm like, excuse me. And it's heterosexual people using it to refer to us, and it's like, no, I had that once already. I don't want that again because it wasn't so great the last time. You know,
Exactly.
I just
It
find
stores up for
it's
you that
upside
word.
down.
But this is the thing, and this is what these people don't understand. And correct me if I'm not right in saying this, but to me, it sounds like to you, when that word is used, that brings back all the horrible memories and all the things that happened to you.
It is.
When-
It's PTSD. It is PTSD. And when you explain this to people, not one person, not one thinks, you know what, maybe I shouldn't say that, or maybe I'll reconsider, or maybe we should talk about no. They just quick, just to
Yep.
be absolutely facetious.
Yeah, I seen that
Uh,
comment, man. How
yeah,
many times did they
and
use that word, man? I mean,
and they don't
come on.
care. They
No.
they do not give a shit. So
No.
much for inclusivity and sensitivity and being all in this together, and it's an umbrella, and everyone's like la la la. No, and this is why the LGB needs to separate, because
Yeah.
it's got nothing to, it's so homophobic, the TQ plus. It really, really is. I'm sorry, but that's just the way. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I was perfectly fine as it was. But then obviously the activists ruined it for everyone. So
That's what I
too
mean. It's
bad.
always the activists. We have to make that clear. It's always the activists
Of course.
that ruin this
Yep.
for everybody. But Chris, did you watch the Cocaine Bear trailer?
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to take off in a couple of minutes because
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up anyway. But I
Right.
just wanted to get your opinion of that before we finished up, because obviously I asked you to.
it's
watch-
one
watch
I'll probably end up checking out when it's on physical media, but I don't think I'll see it in the theater.
It
So-
looks good. I think it'll be good in the cinema on that big screen, man. A big bear coming at you.
I might check it out, but yeah, Elizabeth Banks
Uh,
is pretty toxic, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll leave it there for tonight. Because
Are we supposed to say what we're watching? Current things we're watching?
Well, we were, but Chris
Recommends?
is tired. Chris was actually.
Well, I'll just say quickly, I
Quickly,
highly
go on.
recommend a couple of things. All right, okay. I watched a documentary tonight about the millionaire dog thing on Twitter. Watch that. It's crazy. Crazy. The other thing I saw on Netflix that I thought was really rather good was Lockwood and Co. It's quite very Doctor Who-y, but with ghosts. Yeah, I recommend that. So there
Right.
you go. And the other thing I'd just like to mention, I don't want to end on a low note, but I think it's worth mentioning. Sending thoughts and love to the family of Natalie McNally, the
Oh, yeah.
32-year-old woman who was murdered when she was 15 weeks pregnant.
Yep.
And the guy who is charged with her murder is a Doctor Who YouTube channel guy called Vote Saxon 07. Yeah. Now, obviously, the trial is ongoing, so we can't say too much on that, but it's not looking good. So just
I actually
really,
will be talking
it's not
about
about
that.
him. It's not about him. It's about
About the victim.
her. Yeah. And just sending love to her family, and obviously this is a tragedy, and all the best to her family, and this happened on New Year's Eve last year, so that's their Christmas ruined really for forever, and that's a horrible thing for people to be reminded of annually.
I mean,
but,
if what the papers are reporting is true, the person in question allegedly set up a fake live stream. He had a pre-record.
I saw
I
it.
watched I watched that.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it too much because
I followed it pretty heavily, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Like disgusting.
Yeah.
Freaky. Very freaky.
I have to say we'll keep a close eye on that, actually, because again, we've had a problem in the Doctor Who fandom, and I'm not going to go into it because right now Lee is right. The focus should be on the victim,
on her and her family,
and our family at the moment.
Natalie.
But when all of this is done with and dealt with, we will talk about it, because this has to have repercussions within the fandom, because there's so much abuse going on in it anyway, and this whole thing has to be looked into if we're really honest about it. But absolutely heartbreaking, disgusting. I mean, the level of evil of some people in this world just baffles me. I have to be honest. I don't know how any human is capable of that sort of thing, but unfortunately, it does happen. They say that it is naturally in their nature, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it takes a certain sick puppy to be like that, to be quite honest with you. But look, we'll leave it there on that. Lee is right. We didn't really want to end on a sad note, but that is the note really to kind of leave it on, because you know
It should be
it's
mentioned.
It should
Yeah.
be mentioned, yeah. And I will also say, Gobby has done another stream with John the White and Ian Levine. Can I just say as well that John the White actually won a competition to get a Sylvester McCoy prize. John then graciously asked Sylvester to give it to someone else, a kid who I think kidney
Yeah.
failure or something, and they're at home getting looked after. But John was attacked on Twitter. And as look, it's irrelevant whether John is sick or not. The fact and the point of the matter is that people are so bloody caught up in their hatred for someone that they went in there and decided to say, well, John is not deserving of this prize and stuff like that. I mean, again, this is you know, I don't want to say it, but Bo Saxon, you know, I firmly believe that there's other people just as bad out there. Right
He's
now.
a symptom.
There's
He's the symptom.
Yes.
You know, there is a certain seemingly a level of psychopathy
Yes,
here that
I agree.
That needs addressing.
Yeah, and we will eventually, when everything is dealt with, and we'll see what happens in that case. We will keep an eye on it but I have to say, you know, that disgusted me with what happened with John. The people that are behind are absolutely sick individuals. Anyway, they were called out. Of course, the usual thing when they get called out, they block us. But you know, let them. They're cowards. But you know, I have to be honest. It was a nice touch by John. And fair play to Starry Eyed Girl, because she put him forward in the first place and he won. So fair play to Starry as well. I think John, for what he has done this year alone anyway, and he has done over the fandom, I think he did deserve a little reward like that personally, because he has done some great work in this fandom, no matter what people think of him. And I've had me ups and downs with him, as you all know. But no matter what, he's done some good in this fandom, and that should be acknowledged. And I'm glad it was. And you know, it's just such a shame that there's some people out there that are just
can't
so
let it go.
with their hatred. Yeah, they just cannot let go, and it's
But hey, you know, I mean, they can't handle change.
No, apparently, I know. It's actually funny the way it's all panned out, though. I have to be honest. I knew it was going to be this bad. I told you. What did I tell you? That this was going to be worse.
Oh well, I've to finish on an up note. So I have officially been blocked by our friends that I at Wikipedia. So
excellent.
Hold on.
I did retweet it.
Hold on. When did you put that comment up? So since we've been on, so hold on. When did you put that? So how long did it take them to block you?
So I put it up at 1 hour and 11 minutes ago.
There you go.
So at some point between then and now, they blocked me.
Listen. This is, I'd have more respect for them, right? We don't agree with the pronouns thing, right? Because they're fictional characters. But even if we didn't, I would have more respect for that account if they weren't actually going around and blocking people and listening to what people were saying. See, this is the problem, right? And this has been the problem in all fandoms and the problem in society. They're just not willing to listen to anybody or to have even a bloody conversation, an adult conversation. That is the problem and the issue. And as long as they keep doing this, you know, the more there's going to be. Look, it's already given some of the bigger YouTubers now ammunition to do their videos now on all of this. And that's the thing. It's a vicious circle, right? Accounts like this do something like that, then the YouTubers then that are against it will come out and do it, and it's a vicious cycle over and over again, and nobody's talking to each other because the side that do this in the first place decide that there's no room for debate or anything like that. But it's absolutely they've blocked loads of people.
Well, I
Like,
just said block me too. This is ludicrous. You're just harming gay people like me with this nonsense. So I'll wait for them to block me as well.
I'm pretty
Go
sure
for it.
we'll have an update on that next week for you, but yeah, because it will. This is going to blow up in their faces like everything else does. People just need to let people talk. You know, I think everybody on this panel will say it out straight. Yes, we are against hate speech, and of course, we're against people being absolutely outright racist and bigots. Right? We'll call that shit out, but you cannot be censoring people for just having an opinion. That's it. You know, it's just an opinion. You mightn't agree with it, but that's what fandom is all about. We agree to disagree. And anyway, I'm just going to say this because I didn't really give my opinion on, but here's my opinion on pronouns with fictional characters. It's absolutely ludicrous, right? End of story, right? It's just, in my opinion, it's, well, someone said earlier on they don't think it's pandering. I think it was Chris. Maybe it's not. I don't know what it is, but it's absolutely ridiculous on fictional characters. Like, you know, this is the nonsense that, you know, I mean, look, we didn't even get into the Sam Smith stuff. And Lee has plenty to say on that as well. And so do I. But we'll leave that till but we'll definitely leave that till next week. But Sam Smith, right, is highlighting the issue, right? Because if you got a person like Sam Smith changing their pronouns every couple of months, right? This is why people are saying, like, you know, it's going too far. You know what I mean? If they stuck with one set of pronouns, right, then obviously we probably wouldn't have the issue that we actually have. It wouldn't be a big an issue, right? But it's the fact they're trying to enforce it. I seen one today, right? Libs of TikTok troll videos. Someone that their pronouns are moon and something else now. Their pronouns are moon and something moonshine or something like that. So when I have a conversation with this person, I've got to somehow in the sentence get the pronoun in, which is now moon and sunshine. Do you see where I'm coming from? It is actually ridiculous. Now, Sam Smith is also responsible for the fact that the Brit Awards, which is the music awards in the UK, for not having right. So he demanded gender neutral award ceremony, right? Now, when Adele won her last award, she said she loved being female. And basically that was her response to Sam Smith. But the Brits felt the pressure from the mob and the award ceremony became gender neutral. Do you know what's happened? This year's nominees were announced, right? And Piers Morgan and a lot of other people said that this would happen, and this is what happened. All of the singers that have been nominated are male. So women have been completely wiped out now. They don't even have their own category now because they got rid of it. It's gender neutral. So women again have lost out thanks to an idiot. And I haven't even got into his music video, but that's for next week. Because trust me, we're going to be showing you some screenshots and stuff like that. And we're going to have a bit of a discussion about this. Because, you know, there's outrage over his video, right? And now people are saying, well, if you're outraged about his video, you're the problem. Listen, I'm against kind of sexy videos anyway and all of that. I don't think you need to be half naked when you're doing a music video. You look at videos in the 80s and even the 90s, they weren't as bad as they are today, right? But we do have to have that discussion. And when you see the screenshots, yeah. I mean, he has made it so obvious what that video was all about. I mean, it's just so on the nose. It's unbelievable. And then he wonders why people are reacting negatively. Sam Smith needs to shut his mouth, plain and simple. Simple as that. He's
I
doing a
wish
lot
he
of
would.
damage. Yeah,
He's doing a lot of damage.
He is.
It
He
is
is doing a lot of damage. And we'll go into it more next week. But these are channel shout outs. So we'll start with Chris from Cultivated Media Incorporated. There you go. I didn't call you ball strike once tonight.
Well, you just did now, but
No,
that's okay.
no,
I'm
no,
kidding.
that doesn't
But no,
count.
and once again, very happy I was blocked by Wikipedia, so that's my thing tonight. And I'm going to have to skedaddle because my puppy's sad. The puppy's always is sad when I'm live streaming. So I'm my only Twitter presence is horror_fan 1978. I do 2 live streams weekly. I'm here on Fridays, and on Saturdays I'm on with my good friend Dan from the Spacebook, who is in the chat. And tomorrow we're talking about various things and how maybe Scream Factory may have actually watched my rant because they implemented what I said.
Fantastic. And we go to the one and only Lee.
Yeah, you can find me on the Twats at The Problem Being, and my channel is Aldred Audio Visual, which is all one word. I'm now at over 500 subscribers. Woo!
Yay! You're crawling up there. You're getting there.
I haven't uploaded in ages. As soon as I upload, it goes down. It's really weird. So there's that, and also Instagram as well. But since I've been back on Twitter, I better use it. So find me on Twitter. It's much easier.
Fantastic. Right, just obviously I already announced this on the TARDIS Zone Talks with my new co-host Christian from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be streaming.
I've been replaced.
We'll be no, you're not. You're on this panel. Be quiet. You're even lucky. But here's the schedule now. I've already put the schedule out, but up on Twitter, I have announced it on YouTube as well in the last stream, as I said. But just before we go, just to let you know, so Mondays is New Who Zone, and that's 7 p.m. So if you're available 7 p.m. and you're one of the old panelists, let me know. Tuesday, member streams. The times will vary on that, but every Tuesday there will now be a member stream. Wednesday, midweek will be Classic Who Zone, and we start at 6:30 there. Friday then is the TARDIS Zone Talks at 5:45, and then on Friday night, obviously the same night, we have Friday night contact with the 2 lads here, and that is the schedule for now. So there will be more added to that eventually over the next coming weeks, but that is the main schedule. So if you were on, Wednesday is Classic Who, Monday is New Who Zone. So if any of the old panelists are available on any of those 2 days, let me know, and we will get cracking on them. Remember, New Who Zone, we continue Peter Capaldi. And Classic Who Zone, we're going to change it up a little bit. What we'll do is we'll let each week we'll get a panelist. We'll get a panelist to pick a story, and then we'll the week later we'll rotate with you guys in the chat. So whatever episode or whatever story is has the most mentions, we will do.
Keep a list this time of the ones that we've done.
Yeah, so we don't repeat them exactly.
So we don't repeat them.
So that's how we'll do it this time. So you will get to choose one week, and the panel will get to choose one the week after that. And that's that. So if you are available, let me know. And Tuesdays is member streams, and I'll be talking about stuff that I won't be talking about here. Member streams are a little bit better, and what I mean a little bit better, I mean you can not that you get away with a lot more, but you're freer to talk a little bit more about things that you wouldn't necessarily talk about on the main streams. And that's it. So that's the schedule. So I hope everybody is happy with that. I had to make some changes, obviously, And as you have noticed, Saturdays and Sundays are free at the moment, right? But Sundays is not really free for me because, again, I'm with Noel Clark on Sunday on Twitter Spaces. He is now going to dish the dirt on his next movie because apparently there's more. He's found that everybody is taking credit for his stuff, so he wants to set the record straight. So I'll be there again with him for the last Twitter Spaces watched by over 200, listened to by over 200 people. So if you're there the weekend, Noel Clark has already got it ready. It's up pinned onto his account. So if you want to set the reminder there, come and join us for that. That's 9 p.m. Sunday. Saturdays is obviously going to be left open because, you know, the episodes of Doctor Who when RTD comes back will be slotting in there. But we might put something in there until that time, but I haven't decided yet. Another TARDIS Zone Talks might be going in there with Christian. We don't know yet. We're going to see how it goes over the next couple of weeks. Because his schedule is a little bit, so we'll see how it works out. Because he's done something similar to this on another channel, but obviously work got in the way. So we're trying it out and seeing how it goes. So that's all the stuff I've got to announce. So come and join me, and of course, if any breaking news stories obviously come out related to Doctor Who, obviously. We will just go live. It'll just be a random live because obviously you can't time these things. So don't worry, there'll still be all that as well. But that's the schedule, so everybody knows now. So don't want people telling me, I didn't know. It's there. I've told you now. So it's out there. It's in the open. So thanks be to God, because I tell you, all that last couple of weeks trying to figure out where I was going to put what, it just fucking annoyed me, man. And I'm just glad I got it out now. It's done. It's done now.
Good.
So there you go. Right, we'll leave it there. I want to thank me two co-hosts, Lee and Chris, again. I have to say, lads, I'm really enjoying these streams, which is it's a pleasure streaming with both of you, I have to be honest. Especially
Thanks,
you,
man.
Pleasure.
yeah, especially Chris, because Chris was one of the first
Oh,
channels
thanks.
to bring me on. No, but he was one of the first channels to bring me on, and he was the first one to give me a bit of guidance and stuff. So, you know, but Lee, yeah, you've
Which
always
you
had
didn't
me
listen
back.
to.
Yeah, which I didn't listen to. I know if I had to listen to Chris a long time ago, I wouldn't have went through most of the shit I went through. But there you go.
It's okay.
You learn. You live and learn. That's what it's all about. Right, folks. Thanks everybody in the chat for your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, myself, Chris, and Lee are very grateful that you are here every Friday with us. And I hope you are enjoying these streams. We have a lot more to come. And until then, we will see you soon. And we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.